If you are someone which knows the world of sport, never mind football, then you know the term bottle. What does it mean? Bottle means, well, you bottled it, mate. Losing the lead in a game, or in this case a league, when in a very strong position where every odd was in your favour. When you think of the term bottle job, what do you think of? Maybe if you're someone from 2 decades ago, you may think of Bayer Leverkusen when they were on course for a historic treble in the Bundesliga, in the DFB Pokal, in the German Cup, and in the Champions League, and in the end, losing every single game. Many would look to the Premier League, where in recent years you've seen the term bottle job be used for, let's say, the likes of Arsenal, when they were many points ahead March, February time, and they went on to lose a title. However, maybe historically the infamous Steven Gerrard slip moment with Liverpool having the Tristan Bull match, maybe that could be what could come to your mind, or just England, the national team in general. Today we're going to be talking about one of the greatest bottle jobs in recent memory, and it happened this season, and some of you may not have even known about it. We're going to the Netherlands. Play the music. I don't know why I played that, but I just think it sounds so Dutch it hurts. Comment down below your thoughts on this infamous Ajax bottle job, and for you, what is the biggest bottle in football history? If it's a game, or if it's a league title, anything at all. Comment down below what do you think the biggest bottle in football history is. Some people may say maybe AC Milan v Liverpool in the 2005 Champions League final. I mean, look at the team differences and how that happened. Like, subscribe, and Mozilla Designs for the best prints, all made by myself. Use code Vizeh for 15% off all items. Let's get into it. Now, the Eredivisie, the Dutch top flight, is an interesting league, and for me is one of the most entertaining in top flight European football. When it comes to a title race, typically it's very entertaining, where usually there's a new team that wins it every year or so. There is obviously the main two in the Dutch league, PSV Eindhoven and Ajax, and those teams will be in talks for today's video. Feyenoord, of course, deserves the credit too. The only teams that have appeared to have won the Eredivisie that's not the top 3 is FC Twente back in 2010 and AZ Alkmaar in 2009. Now, Ajax is the biggest club in the country, of course, the European Championships and the pedigree that comes with them, but they've not won too many more championships ahead of PSV Eindhoven, only 10 more, or well, before this year, 11 more. Ajax's 2024-25 season will be remembered for all the wrong reasons. Now, when Arsenal lost the Premier League with like 8-9 points with like many games left, that was a pretty bad bottle, but at least there was quite a large time period to make those mistakes. Ajax were 9 points ahead with 4 games left to go. This could be put down as one of the worst bottle jobs in history. The only one I can think of is similar is when Real Madrid lost 6 of the last 7 games back in 2004. Ajax had to go to PSV and beat them, which they did. On the 30th of March, they beat PSV 2-0, which propelled them 9 points ahead of PSV with 7 games remaining. At this stage, Ajax was 12 games undefeated in the league. And it's not like they celebrated as if they already won the thing. David Klaassen, the vice captain, in an interview came out asking for calmness, saying that it is a humble joy, he would say. It's not like we won a prize here, the prizes will be handed out at the end of the season. And even to the eyes of the PSV players, it was done. PSV winger Noah Lang coming out saying the championship is done now. Even the captain of PSV, Luc de Jong, came out saying 9 points is too much. That is the reality, we just have to finish second now. When even the players of the other team is coming out saying this and you still bottle it, this should be up there in history as the worst bottle job, I would say. And they thought they had their scare, and they came out of it. They were 1-0 down away at Willem, and they came back to win the game 2-1 on April the 13th. This led 7 points from the last 5 games. Next weekend, Utrecht, 4-0 loss. This was rather insane, but it's of course a wake-up call. Keep in mind, PSV are winning each game after this. Since that 2-0 loss to Ajax, they won every single game to win 7 in a row to even give themselves hope. And after losing 4-0 to Utrecht, Ajax had Sparta Rotterdam at home, in which they needed a 97th minute equaliser to even draw the game 1-1. But it's still in their hands. They've just got to beat NEC at home. And it's almost over. They lost 3-0. The 9-point gap has now gone down to a single point. They've got Groningen away from home. And they're down to 10 men. Granted, they were down to 10 men in the 93rd minute. In the 99th minute, Groningen had 10 men, and guess what? Groningen scores in the 99th minute, and Ajax has thrown away the title. For the first time, PSV were above Ajax with only 1 point with 1 game left to go. Ajax played 20 at home, and PSV simply had to go on and beat Sparta Rotterdam away. There's some slight hope there, and PSV won. A lot of attention has been put on to Jordan Henderson with this as well, that his introduction to Ajax this year appears to have maybe caused a few problems with the dressing room. Keep in mind, Ajax last year was also in a completely terrible state. Up to November last year, they were like 9th in the table, which for Ajax is unprecedented. They did manage to, of course, recover to qualify for the Europa League, but they just haven't been the same team for quite a long time now. They've still never been able to really recover from what happened in the Champions League. So now we can delve into kind of beyond this season and what's happened to Ajax since, because they've not really been the same, and there's 3 main aspects to this. Number 1 is the Erik ten Hag effect, where since he's left, they've appointed several managers that's just not been that good for them at all. Despite all the money that's come in from Manchester United for Anthony or Sandro Martinez, they still haven't really been able to really take that on. Keep in mind, this is Ajax, which is known for being a very important cultural hub of Dutch football, bringing in young players and having a very successful development system into their team. When Erik ten Hag left, they brought in Alfred Schroeder, who previously managed Club Brugge and actually worked as Ten Hag's assistant, and it never worked out. The team was strong, but they just weren't able to really adapt, becoming just overly reliant on just individual brilliance than an actual team unit. John Heitinga came in as an interim manager, and then came in Maurice Stijn, Dutch manager, knows the league pretty well from Sparta Rotterdam and Vitesse, and he was never really accepted by the Ajax fans either. Then because he wasn't really ever known for a sort of attractive style of football, he's much more of a conservative manager, being a bit more defensive, when Ajax is meant to be this highly possession-based, attractive, entertaining team. This was a complete failure by the board at Ajax. Stijn was eventually sacked, Heitinga came in again as an interim, and then he brought in a new manager. And due to all these different managers coming in and out, and a lot of the kind of big names that they've always had decided to move on, like Kudus, like Alvarez, like kind of the big names that made Ajax a stable, cultured club, had decided to move on. Their youth system also, which was their main core strength, no longer looked that much better than other teams in the same league. But there's also one more thing as well. There was an incident that happened about 2-3 years ago, which kind of impacted how Ajax was seen by some people in the Dutch world. Mark Overmars. You should know him. I really hope you're not too young, because if you do, then you may only think you may only think of him because of FIFA. In February 2022, Overmars was accused of sending many inappropriate sexually charged messages to several female colleagues at Ajax. An internal investigation was conducted. Many women came out against him. Overmars was quite a big part of the club, was overseeing the transfers, development of their youth academy. He was a key figure. In this investigation, he was also found to send pictures of his genitals to at least one employee, which is fun. Keep in mind, he was a director of football affairs. Like, he was quite high up. Now, I don't want to say that the reason why Ajax has been kind of poor in the last couple of years and unstable is because of Overmars, sending a nude. However, it doesn't help. They've just become somewhat of a selling club, selling Bergwijn, Mikotadze, Conceição. And the year before, millions of pounds they made off Kudus, Timber, Alvarez, Bassi, Daramy, just on those 5 players alone. And he brought in not a lot with it. Like, for example, spending about €40 million on Carlos Forbes, and he's not really been involved. Chuba Akpom from Middlesbrough, again, not really involved. So right now, Ajax is just kind of seen as a team which has to sell a lot of their players and not really is that good at bringing new players in. The management is in disarray of how to really bring in a stable culture there, and they just seem like they're a bit lost. Overmars was a big part of Ajax, and since he's been gone, seeing what made Ajax in the last year or two, where PSV and Feyenoord will close the gap even more, and that's bad news for them. But in terms of a more competitive Vizeh, it could maybe be a good thing. So comment down with your thoughts, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.